All right. Let's get it. Happy days. Another day, man. Another day here. Another day. It's your host, MarquisSoLive. Welcome back to the podcast that we will name later one day, eventually. I don't know. Still thinking about it. Today, we have everybody here, Marquis is here, Anthony's here, Jazz is here, Asia's here. And I just want to say, how you guys doing, man? Shout out.
We're good.
Everyone's fine?
I'm straight chilling.
You know what? Shout out to the awkward silences. You guys are out here doing it. No, man, it's been a great week. We decided we were going to do this. We were already chilling. I said, hey, let me press record and just see what happens. And we're just going to see. It's just another day. So last episode, we kind of talked about marriages and stuff like that. We had Lee and the gang in here. This episode, it's a little different. I mean, we're talking about, a little historical, like what's going to happen, like within family values, how your history of your past predicts your future, etc., etc. As you know, the overarching theme of this season is family and friends. Next season, join us. We'll talk about a little bit of finance and stuff like that, but we'll get you that on the finale. But, I mean, everyone says they're good. You guys all good?
Amazing. 10 out of 10.
Everybody, 10 out of 10.
We're loving it.
Like
McDonald's.
Honestly speaking, 9 out of 10 times I feel 10 out of 10.
What happened to the
100% of the time?
You said 9 out of 10.
Mm-hmm.
No,
100% of the time, when it's 9 out of 10, I feel amazing.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. It's great. I got to leave some room for buffer, man.
Okay, fair enough.
It could be worse.
Yeah, it could be.
Everything could be falling
apart.
It
Could be 7. I don't know, man. But as we were talking, so we were speaking about marriage last time, and it did bring up some more like deeper themes that I was thinking about when it comes to like historical this. One of the key things that we just didn't hit because of the time last week that I think we can hit today it was about roles and whatnot. So the first question really would be to the group, like, who should be, if anyone should, quote unquote, be the stay-at-home parent? Like, how do you guys feel about staying at home? Is that you? Is that them? Do you think it's like swapping or whoever's needed? Like, where do you guys fall on the spectrum of stay-at-home parents? React. That's my shit.
I think for me, I don't think it should be like it could be either. I think like whoever wants to be. If you want to be at home, cool. Woman or man. I don't think it should be like a role that only one person can. Like per se, like traditional woman can stay home, man work.
But like, what if like your partner's like, I want to be the stay at home?
Both.
Yeah.
What if it was both?
Well, it was like, yo, can we both be a stay at home? What are you guys gonna do then?
I think it's possible. Yeah. It's just how you navigate, especially financially. Like, how are you gonna navigate that? Because a lot of the times, like, at least from my experience with my family, the stay at home person is typically like an auntie or like a grandparent or something, like, because they've already retired, they don't have to worry about it financially anymore, and they're happy to be able to take care of like the little ones in the family. But when it comes to parents who don't have like the steady income yet, that's something that needs to be discussed for sure. But if you both want to stay at home, I'm sure you could figure it out. It's all about dedication in the end.
Yeah, I agree with the finance part. I mean, like, I know in like society, like them, like, for the most part, men have to make the money. Men have to provide. But like, let's say like a female makes more money than a guy, then does that make, the female still have to, do all the cooking, all the cleaning, while the men just stay there and stuff like that? I think that definitely depends on the financial part of it.
Bro, it's such an interesting question, because what if you're not married yet and then someone's like straight up like, I do not, like, working and me are not a thing. Like, I want to be a stay at home. It's different when you have like a kid, or even if you're married and you're just deciding your role then, but like you are literally dating this person. They're like, this job that I have is temporary as fuck. As soon as there's one stream of income, that's the only stream of income. I'm sorry. So I just get curious of that. Like, when do you think you should Like, people can say you could talk about these things, but I'm like, when should you really talk about these things? And please don't say when the pregnancy test is positive.
Oh,
No.
Hey, can we decide who's going to take care of this?
because like with my parents, they divorced when I was young, but my dad was actually like a stay-at-home dad because he was in the reserves, and so he had like a lot of free time on his hands. So he actually took care of me a lot when I was like 2 to 5 years old. But then after they got divorced, it was just my mom and I. And so seeing how different it is to have somebody who is at home, who is constantly taking care of things and like doing the dishes, cooking meals and stuff, and then seeing that suddenly stop because there's a job that they have to go to. There's no way for you guys to like actually spend time. Like as a kid, from a kid's point of view, it's very different, but you still have to figure out like, what is it that you're really trying to do when you're staying at home? Are you trying to actually nurture this little human that you have, or are you just there because you feel comfortable?
I love kids so much that I just want to sit around. I've always said that when it comes to me and kids, I don't want to say goodbye and be gone for like 8 hours.
Yeah.
And then come back and there's already time to put them to bed. Like, I just never wanted that type of interaction, regardless of how much, kids like cling to their parents and whatnot. Or if I have like a daughter and she's like a daddy girl, like I just want to pour so much into the kid. So me, it really is rooted in spending time with the kid. Now, I say I want to be a stay-at-home dad. I never said I wanted to be like a house husband. I feel like that's a whole nother, like if there's no kid, I don't think I want to just be the one at home. I think I want to get something in. I want to work. I want to do something, even if it's part-time. I want a little play change, something, man. Give me some money to go to the arcades. I don't know. I want an allowance. So I feel you though. Some people just traditional work is just not their thing.
I think that it's possible for both, even if you weren't a parent, for both partners to be at home. It just depends what you want to do and your purpose. Because I've seen it happen. I've seen people do social media and they're both able to stay at home with both their kids, or travel and also stay at home.
Yeah,
I think it's possible.
I've seen some homeschooling shit. So
yeah,
I was like,
that too.
whoa.
Well, once kids get involved.
Yeah.
I don't know when there's a perfect time to like have that conversation. Because, for me and Anthony, like, we're just going day by day, like, okay, like, what's next for us? What are we going to do? Especially after, like, graduating, I was like, okay, I feel like I would want for me to stay at home and watch the kids, but right now we don't have kids. So it's like, okay, well, I want to figure out my purpose and figure out that, and even once I have kids, still be able to like do that and attend to my kids. Maybe not like 24/7, but I'll be more involved in their life.
That actually makes me think that, especially with the pandemic, like the whole concept of stay-at-home parents has changed. Like, it's not really, we can think about it in the traditional sense, but now we can see it in a whole different perspective of like having to stay home. Like, you literally can't go anywhere. Yeah. And that's a whole different dynamic than like wanting to stay home.
True. Mm-hmm. Agree.
I think it's weird because like, so at the time of the pandemic, I like due to work, like I just gotten back and I couldn't really go anywhere until I was forced to, but because there was nothing to do, I didn't feel like an added pressure. There was like, for my partner, she was like super stressed about her kid because she just felt like she didn't get a break. She was used to daycares and stuff like that. But like for me, it was just like it's not like I'm sacrificing to stay inside. There's literally nothing to do outside. So I'm just inside, buying all these relationship bonding cards and whatnot. And hey, bro, I was doing this shit, man. Hey, I learned a lot about myself, man. Name 3 ways your love language correlates with your partner. Shit, 3.
I can only think of one.
Like, I was with it.
Like, what's my love language though?
I don't know, bro. Hey, Anthony, I got a question for you. No Kids app. If Jazz said in the very beginning, which based on your conversation, she probably might have. If she had just been like, yo, I want to be a stay-at-home, does that affect, like, how you think about it. Cause I feel like with men, they're much more willing to be like, oh, okay. Like if a female was like, I want to stay at home, it's just like, cool.
No, that's exactly how I was. Like when she's like, if she ever, I don't think she said it to me before, but if she ever did, I'd be like, cool, yeah. I mean, I'll make the money. I'll go to work. I mean, I'll come back, hang out with the kids, hang out with you, and there you go. I don't mind being not the sole income, but like the main
primary.
Yeah, the primary that, you know, makes the money and goes to work and stuff. I don't mind that because I'm already, you know, used to it. So
I had to ask because when it comes to stay at home, it's like I don't have a negative stigma across, but that's because I'm like, as much as me, I would like to stay at home.
Yeah.
Like if I don't, like it's just like it is what it is. Like someone's made money. Like I'm very like my style of affection and, you know, love is like, you know, what's your happiest moment? And if going to work is gonna make you not a shitty person, but like the lesser version of what I could be having is happiness, then I'm cool with that. And if my job like drives me crazy, then maybe I need a less paying but more satisfying job, and that's something we figure out as a couple. Like, part-time job plus my job with like low income, and then we make it. Shit like that.
Yeah.
Shit like that.
I would say, like, adding to Anthony, we've never had that conversation, but like at the same time, after growing up, my mom was like, you need to be independent. You need to, like, make your own money in case he ever leaves you. Like, you need to, like, hustle. And I was like, okay, I'm going to get my shit done, get my degree, okay? And, like, at some point, I was like, I'm going to figure out what my purpose is. I'm going to figure it out. And at some point, I was like, I am still not there yet, and I already have my degree.
Shit's so scary.
It is scary because you're just, like, walking on water, kind of, like, floating, and you're, like, you're just there trying to, like, reach that finish line of, like, okay, at some point I'll figure out my purpose. But, you know, once I got married, I was like, okay, well, I can't just stay home. I don't want him to be the one always making money. Like, I don't want to rely on him. But I knew that I always wanted a family and, like, at some point be able to, like, you know, watch them grow up, because I've watched so many little kids grow up in my arms. You know, I raised so many kids from my mom's daycare, and I just knew that I didn't want my kid to always be at daycare 24/7, 5 days a week, from like 5 in the morning to like 5 p.m., 6 p.m. sometimes, interrupting our dinner. I'm like, I didn't want that. So I don't know. I think as I got married, I definitely have like changed of like what I want. But I know that I want a family that, like, I'm able to, like, raise and spend time with. And I'd realized that I kind of wanted to be a stay-at-home wife. And that doesn't mean that, you know, I don't want to work. I do want to work. I want to make money, too. I want to, like, still have something there. It might not be full-time, but, like, it's something. And then
it is.
Once they, like, grow up and go to school, then I'll be like, all right, I can go full time.
Yeah, it's usually
time for some wine.
It's that little area in between like birth and actually going to school where it's just like, okay, how are we gonna do this? Do I stay at home or do I send them to daycare? Like, where do we go from here? Because I think it's really at those points in life that are so monumental to like the child's development too. And so, like, once they start going to school, well, they're not going to be at home, so what are you going to do? You know?
So that's why I'm like, I still want to have a job that I still love and, like, will still make me happy. But I want to be a stay-at-home wife, and I don't know if that sounds terrible, but...
It's just about how it feels to you. If it feels right for you, that's it. That's all. Like, we're so built on, like... We also have to acknowledge that the reason we had those more traditional views in the past or even 100 years ago is because life expectancy was much lower. Yeah. So it's like you have to add, I tell people to add 20. Add 20 to what you are now, and that's why people were feeling that way. You're 26, you might want to go ahead and it's because they think you're 46. like that's a little different when it's like 46, and by the way, we die at 60, so you might want to do something.
Yeah,
that's true.
Because like for me, at least, as much as I would love to be a stay-at-home mom, I'm also like, I know that I can't stay still in one place for too long.
All facts, no printing.
So I'm just like, if I were to be a stay-at-home mom, it would have to be like on a circling cycle. Like it has to be a cycle of some sort where I'm like at home, taking care of business at home, but then like every other time I'll be like, okay, now we're going to work so we can get out the house and do other things and like expose ourselves to new environments.
To be part-time.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And I'm just so used to like jumping from place to place because as a military kid, like I moved around a lot. So I'm so used to having like this timeline of 4 years. After 4 years, it has to change. Something has to change. It can't be the same thing. But that's just how I process things. Like I'm not somebody who stays in one position for too long. Like I held so many different jobs, but that was also because I moved a lot. So then it just made sense of, okay, well, the time's ticking. I feel like I've overstayed my welcome. Time to move on to something else.
Okay. That's a different perspective on that.
Yeah.
That shit scares me, man. I'm also a military brat, but I like crave stable. I crave consistency. I mean, you can have consistency of like, instead of doing it A, it can be ABC, ABC, ABC. Every Monday and Friday we do something. That's still consistent, but I'm in like the random, I have no idea how to get my footing. That shit always scares the shit out of me. I just don't want my kids to feel that way. Because sometimes until you realize what real consistency is, kids like learn like differently. Like when they're in kindergarten, pre-K, that is the time when they have the most sheepish like personalities, unless they've already been in an environment at home where they can be a leader or they can go off and do their own thing, but they just want to be liked. Yeah. And so they'll do whatever, the other kids are doing to be liked and whatnot. And it starts at such a young age.
It's true.
And I just I want my kids to have a fighting chance. But I'm also thinking about, different educational models and whatnot, because traditional might not be the way. Charter schools are always up there. Maybe a little bit of private and then throw them in public a little later. There's a few different things.
I haven't thought that far, but
I mean, when you're in your upper 20s and everybody has kids already, you have these conversations about where they see the future of the kids, and then I'm 2.8 now. I got that version 2.8, and so when I speak to people, I know people with like 12-year-olds, 15-year-olds. I'm just like, what? like I know everybody with like a 12-year-old right now is like, oh shit. But for me, it's a lot. But then there's like, well, yeah, it was like 18, 17. I'm like, oh yeah, I guess.
Yeah, because like I am a byproduct of the public school system, and I'm kind of terrified. Like I want kids, but I'm also terrified to put them in public school.
Public school is superior. What are you talking about?
It's just it's just like, because I think of it through my experience, and I'm like, so much shit went down, and I went to like, I don't know how many public schools. And I'm just like, all of them had something in them that was just like, ooh.
Yeah, so when I was younger, my mom was a single mom because my dad left us when I was about like 2 years old. So I moved around a lot during like kindergarten to like 5th grade, and that's like the growing stage of like any kid. And that's how I got like very shy from like 6th grade to probably like junior year. And like back to like the like developing, it's like when you move around a lot, it's like it sucks for the kid because they don't know anybody. You have to constantly move, and it's like it sucks honestly for the kid. And I don't know what else to say about that.
I feel you, man. That shit sucks. It sucks to keep restarting, and like you have this bond. Like I was talking to someone the other day, and it was like, yo, like, because I moved so much, I got used to like letting people go after I built up a close bond, because I knew that where I went in the next place, I would make another close bond. And I was like, that's kind of gray to me. Like, I get what you're saying. You're saying like, this is what I did in order to, protect my own peace. But for me, it's like, it also like scares me in a sense of like, how do you deal with, because just because you move away doesn't mean a bond has to go away. Yeah. Like, you don't have to, like, I'm like, so that forms like its own form of attachment issues, like where you need a proximity, like in order to feel, and then you like talk yourself out of it as soon as someo's like out of your. But like, I hate that.
That sucks. Yeah.
I was gonna say that right when we got married, I moved to Kentucky with him. You know, on that note of what you're talking about.
How dare you?
And
that's true love right there.
I formed connections with some these women that were also either spouses or girlfriends, and I was like, you know what? I'm not going to get too attached because I'm going to leave. And I was like, you know, you're talking about it now, and I'm like, I guess I didn't want to form an attachment to them because I was literally leaving in a couple of months, and I didn't feel like trying to like make an effort to create a relationship with them because I was like, I'm never going to see you again.
Wait. This is a callback. I didn't even realize it, man. That's another form of why people ghost. You just don't want to deal with it. You just don't want to deal with it.
I guess I did it. I didn't think about it until now, though. You're like mentioning it. And
now I'm telling you, now I'm at a point in my life where even when I go travel, like I rarely take all the travel pictures because I tell myself, yo, if it's that pretty, I'll see it again. Like I've gotten over, like, I mean, after you go to like 65 countries,
oh God,
your level of like, it's just gone. Like I'm like, yeah, Italy's beautiful. I'll just go back.
Yeah.
I hate showing a picture and be like, yo, check this out. It's so pretty. I'm like, yo, when your passport ready, let's go. I'm literally gonna point this place out to you. I'm gonna give you this pizza place that we went.
I'm going to the fucking plane right now.
Right. So when it comes to connections and stuff, I'm like, I'm all for it. Now I've had that in past experience because I had a crazy move cycle too, like going from like Korea to Europe to freaking North Carolina to Georgia to Afghanistan for a little bit. So I've gotten used. There's been times where I met someone my last 4 months at a place and I was like, this is the best person I've ever met in my life.
You're like, I have to leave.
And then I left and I was like, whoa, that was a great 4 months. Like I just take it on how it is. I take it those 4 months. If it aligns again, it aligns again. I keep contact. Like I'm not.
Yeah.
Like,
and for me, like, I value friendships so much, like I value connections, and so I'm very intentional about like if I really click with somebody and I am like, okay, I really do want you in my life, so even if I move, we are still going to talk to each other, but it's up to you if you want to talk to me, because like I've already put out the energy of like, yeah, I'm trying to talk to you, right? Yeah. But if you're not responding back, I can't keep like forcing myself into your life if you don't want me there anymore because you've already moved on. Because that actually happened recently with one of my friends, and before he moved, I even told him, I said, watch this happen. You're going to move, and then you're going to forget all about me. You're just never going to respond to me ever again. And it's just going to be like, what happened? I don't know what happened. He's like, no, that's not going to happen.
And then it happened.
So then he moves.
Say, I don't know, as a friend to hear that.
Right? So then he moves, right? And I'm trying to keep in contact with him. He's like, oh, yeah, I got so much shit that happened. I need to update you on, and blah, blah, blah. I'm like, okay, let me call you. He's like, no, let me call you. And I was like, okay, so I'm waiting for this call like the whole day. He doesn't call. Next day comes, he doesn't call. It's my birthday. He doesn't call. I'm like, what the fuck, bro? Like, are you good? You know what? I'm not even going to bother you about this anymore because I've already lost all interest in whatever the fuck just happened in your life, because at this point, you clearly don't want to tell me.
But then there's also those friends that like whenever you make that friendship, like whenever you meet them again or you haven't talked like in months and you talk again, like you don't miss a beat. Like I have a high school best friend that me and him been through the ringer through high school. Like so many people that ghosted us, so many like bad friends. Like we hated our senior class. We hated every single one of them. So it was like the fact that we still stay in contact and we like never skip a beat is great. And then in Kentucky, I have, there's only like a few people I hung out with, and one of them was my roommate in the barracks. So we always clicked, and no matter what time of day or no matter what's going on in our lives, we always try to make time to call each other. And you always have you're gonna get those friends once or twice, like in your life.
See who sticks.
Yeah, you see who sticks.
Bro,
Yeah.
I'm a firm believer of like I don't even send good morning texts like that. Like
you annoy me sometimes
Good
because
morning.
you are so like you are equally as bad at responding to messages, even if it is like something so minute, and you just sit there and look at your phone like I am not gonna respond to that, and I just sit there like. What do you think about the clown faces?
He just looks at it like, yeah. No.
Well, one, I don't like responding to just emojis.
Okay, so I
there
have to ask you some philosophical questions.
No,
then.
just don't send me a bunch of clowns and expect me to be like honk. Like I don't know what you want from me, woman. It's not. I told you. Anytime it feels like it's a pop quiz, I'm out of there, man. I do not like if I like think about this. Like, what's the equivalent of sending like an LOL or liking a message? Just 3 emojis. So for me, it's like that's a conversation ender. It's like cool.
Okay.
So while you may be waiting for me to respond to you being a clown, I'm just like, guess that conversation's over, and I go about my day because I protect my peace. But here's the crazy thing: I've never once been like, "Yo, you suck at communication." I'm just like, "Nah, we pick it up. We always pick it up." That's how I am with people. So I'm more with Anthony. There's some people that like we had taco night. My best friend, who literally lives like 2 minutes down, her second time coming to this place. But we pick it. We like you would not be able to tell by our interactions that she and I barely hang out. Like. That's just how I pick things back up because I'm like, the energy doesn't change. Like, you got your shit. Like, I don't need to talk to you every single day
no,
to
and
validate.
I get that. The thing is...
Oh, wait, she's expressing hurt to me. Go ahead, bro.
No, the thing
Go
is...
off.
Okay, so not with you, right? But with this friend who just stopped responding.
Yeah.
We used to actually talk every single day, whether we were together or not together. So it was kind of like this pattern that we already established. And so it's like I was so used to that pattern, and maybe that was on me because like I was so used to the pattern that I thought that, oh, even if you're leaving, we're going to keep this pattern going of like, hey, how's your day going? What you been up to? Any updates? Things like that, and just like keep it pushing like that. But it's not the same for him. And since he moved, because I think he's so absorbed in like what's happening in his new environment, and I understand that. It's just frustrating for me as a person who's like constantly moved, but I was able to keep up the pace with other people. And so again, it goes back to that whole expectation thing that I was talking about. Like I was setting expectations when I didn't need to set those expectations, and that's where my downfall was with that.
And I feel like if you hang out with them again, I feel like you guys will skip a beat.
I think that too.
I feel like that. Because if you guys were talking every single day consistently, and then both of you guys go on the separate paths, if you guys' paths like cross again, like I feel like no beat is gonna be skipped. Like it's gonna be click, 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 click. Like I feel like that.
I think both happen. I think you can fall out just because you fall in, but I say that you guys, especially since you already established what your foundation is, your foundation it's not like necessarily a plant in the sense of like your roots are underneath. Like you guys already said you have expensive roots. You guys will talk every day, regardless of being together or not. So those are your roots. Now what's sprouting out, like, all right, like if you feel like, hey man, like I just miss you. I feel like your best energy is just to continue doing what makes you happy. If you want to shout out, like I get it. I get sending a text into the void sometimes feels like crappy, but you're not being you if you're like now going like, I don't know if I want to speak or I don't know if I want to say something to them because I don't know when's the next time they respond. It's like, unless they're ghosting, your texts are a whole nother color or something like that. If it comes up like the number you have called is no longer in service, then you might want to try something else.
If the text bubbles go from blue to green, then yeah.
Okay, so
her
here's the
messages
thing.
are always green.
Here's the thing. I have an Android, so
Boo!
I wouldn't be able to tell regardless.
Boo!
You ruined the group chat.
I know.
Oh, she's
I'm
in
the
no
problem.
group chat. I never add her to group chats.
Who's this green one right here?
Right? There have been times where I was with friends and they're like, "Oh, we need to make a group chat," and they're like, "Oh, but you have an Android. Never mind. Let's just text one-on-one. I'll just let you know what they say in the group chat." I was like, "I'm not even invited."
Nah, you're not about to fuck up this group chat. That shit's crazy.
They're gonna kick you out. Like, all right, who wants to name the group chat?
The only benefit is that my family has Android, so we have our own group chat. So
Google
we're
Hangouts.
straight
They're on
chilling.
Hangouts like a mother.
No, we're not.
Google
We have
Duo.
it via text message.
Look at her. Look at this woman. Love Hangouts actually low key. Well, I like Hangouts because like you could just log on to Gmail and it's right there. So I think that's kind of dope because I'm never logging into iMessage at work. And one of my friends did it. I was like, I'm not doing that. The Apple network is too expensive for me to want some part of work.
Why is
That
Apple so
shit's
expensive?
crazy.
Gosh.
Shit's disgusting. But no, man, I feel like if you pick it back up, you guys were just together. You
I'm sure like
wouldn't
if
skip a beat. I feel
if
like
there
that
was
should be
like
the
some
important
sort
part.
of like vacation days that I accumulated in the next 4 months, 5 months, I don't know. If I went to go visit him, it'd be different. Like he would actually talk to me and stuff. But it's just like
I would hope so.
I would hope he would talk to me if
Goes
I
in the
fly
same
out
hometown?
there.
Yeah. Who are you again?
It's like I've never seen this woman before in my life.
I don't know. You showing the picture? You showing a picture of each other? Like,
It does suck
who's this?
though when you drift your friends that
Mm-hmm.
you were like really close with, and like rather you get ghosted completely or like you talk to them every day.
Right.
Like my cousin right now, she's in Spain.
Oh, that's fucking
Studying abroad.
Yeah, she's
Love
studying
it.
abroad, and she talks to me every day, and she makes it a point to talk to me. You know, she makes an effort to be like, you know what, I'm gonna call her.
Yeah, but then it's time.
And our time zone also is completely different too.
honestly, it's just free game. When your time zones are completely different, sometimes it's actually a lot easier. Like when I was in Korea, it was just the opposite. So if it was nighttime, it was morning. So I always knew someone was awake.
Yep.
As opposed to 3 hours behind, 2 hours ahead. That shit starts to fuck with me. I was like, what do you mean it's midnight, man? I just got up.
And then there's me. I'm like calling my mom at 2:00 in the morning, her time, and I'm like, "Oh, I'm sorry.
Like,
I just wanted to tell you about this funny joke."
There
My
was,
mom
like, we
wishes.
started off like long distance, and she lived in California, and I was in Kentucky, so that's like a 5-hour difference. But then when I first started talking to her, she was actually vacationing here, so it was like,
No, I think it was the opposite. It was Hawaii, 5-hour difference, and then
yeah,
California was like 2 to 3.
yeah, but still, it's like I'll be going to sleep and it's bright as fuck outside in Hawaii. I'm like, what the hell?
That's why I started doing the world clocks and shit, because keeping track of all the different times.
Yeah.
I had alarms. I would take more naps. Right? I used to do the thing where you mount, like I had a little phone mount for the wall, and I would always fall asleep on FaceTime or anything like that. So I'd mount my phone, and then I'd just talk until I'd go to sleep.
Oh my gosh.
And because the time difference is, unless the phone is disconnected, I'd wake up and they're just asleep. No, yeah, that was kind of cool. It's kind of fire. So I get it. I mean, you can't put the effort in, but like once I realized that, I think when I was younger, I would do it because I felt like if I didn't, the relationship or whatever would crumble and end. And then as I got older, I started realizing, well, hold on, these core things of why we like each other are like, it's just added when I call every day. But like our conversations are the bigger part of that. Like if I got 15 minutes a day, but it's like the happiest 15 minutes of your day, then it's just as effective.
You know what I'm realizing as we're talking about this?
That you have to pee.
No. That's not it. Eventually I will though. But
shit.
but what I'm realizing is I think the reason why I had so much pressure in that communication aspect is because I lost so many people within the span of like 2 months. Like whether it be friendships fell apart, relationships fell apart, a family member died. Like there was so many losses, and I was just like, well, now I'm not talking to them anymore, and I just feel like there's nothing else to talk to but the void. So like, what am I going to do? How can I strengthen the relationships I currently do have? And for me, I'm a big communicator. Like if you're not talking to me, then I feel like there's something off and that needs to be talked about.
Really?
Same.
Yeah.
You're a big communicator? Really?
Yeah.
Both of you are big
Yeah,
communicators?
so there's been times where like she be talking to me, I'm like, yeah, huh?
No,
And
no,
I'm
there's
so
times where-
confused. And then there's times where she's like conversate with me, and I just don't know what to say sometimes. Like we're just there. I'm just there, like,
Yo.
Like I
Oh,
need someone
shit.
to like talk to me.
Yeah.
where
No.
literally-
What?
Like,
That's crazy. I'm getting deja vu. Sorry.
yeah, I think we've had this somewhat of a conversation.
we've
briefly
definitely had
on
this conversation.
where it's like you need to tell me how you're feeling, how you're doing, what's going on, the situation. Like
Oh, yeah. Bro, I suck at
just-
small talk.
But then guys,
not
responses
small
are just
talk.
like,
Like it could get deep, but I'm he can only go so.
Yeah, I mean, you start off with how are you feeling? What was your day? But for me, it's always like a default. I'm good. I'm fine.
no, that's exactly
Another
what I
day.
said. It's like,
No,
Can't
but
complain.
Another
I
day
just
at work.
try to start the conversation where I'm like, okay, so like, what actually happened in your day?
Yeah, like to give me the details.
Check
Like,
this out.
what's something that
Anthony,
possibly
spill the
pissed you
tea.
off?
So Anthony, I'm gonna give you a little hack, and this is a hack that I've learned very recently because I keep being around these high energy communicators such as Asia and Jazz. So I'm actually, as you know, I'm pretty deadpan. I'm pretty cool on default, unless I'm like in a silly mood. In that case, like my energy's there. I spike. However, what I've learned is that sometimes first establish what they want. As like, are they venting or are they just looking for social interaction? Then instead of just cooling it out, you can just follow certain points. Like certain points, you're like, oh, like I don't have it in depth. Like just because they talk for 5 minutes does not mean you have to, but you should stir something along to try to get them to talk again for another 5 minutes. That is the secret sauce.
But I hate talking the whole time.
That is the secret sauce.
Yeah, but
I want him to
like-
conversate with me. Like,
How long do you
have-
think we've been talking so long? Let me tell you why that was a secret sauce.
she be talking for like 30 minutes, and all I got to contribute is like, cool. I mean, I don't like that, but cool. Like that's all I had to contribute, and it's like,
And I'm like, I want more.
I'm like,
Are you
Opinions.
Are you guys conversations? I mean, you don't have to answer this too personal, but is it like A then B? Like, are you getting everything off your chest and then it's responding, or is it like as she's saying something, you may jump in then? Which one do you think you lean towards?
First one. Like
she,
I'll
like
talk.
she expects me to.
I'll talk and then he does, but like I actually kind of want him to like
Interject?
interrupt me and be like, no, actually.
Well, the thing is, like for me,
But he
I
doesn't.
don't like interrupting, or I don't like people interrupting me
Yeah,
when
he
I talk.
doesn't.
So you get what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Like,
but-
like I like.
But I
like,
want him to like be like,
Hold on, I gotta stop. Yeah, budding. However,
yeah, go ahead.
comma, How to Win Friends and Influence People, a book that I really love, would suggest that instead of using the golden rule, which it seems like you're embodying, which we're all taught, so it's all good, you should actually use the silver rule. Silver rule is treat people the way that they want to be treated and tell them the way that you would like to be treated. So I know what subconsciously happens is like you cannot do something that you would not be like done to you. However, comma, as I said with the silver rule, you're treating someone exactly how they want. You're actually doing them more of a favor because that's exclusive to them, and that it just speaks to your bond and how much you know that person. Because I'm also someone that I will be quiet until you are done, because sometimes they don't make their point, or sometimes I've interjected and someone's like, no, you gotta, like, I was gonna get to that point. Like,
Don't interrupt
like,
me. Like,
like I'll tell you why I think Godzilla's a fairy. Like, hold on, just give me a second, right?
I'll tell you why clowns are real.
Right, yeah, like so you have those people that they have to get it out, but you just got to know and conversate. I was curious because sometimes when people talk for an extended point in time, I get lost, and I have to dial back and think of questions that I'm like. That's why I said get them talk for another 5 minutes, because sometimes they're just rehammering points. 'Cause I don't catch it all the first time. I don't
It's
catch
like-
it all.
For me, like, I realize I am a very strong communicator. Like, if there's something on my mind, I am a strong communicator.
I didn't notice.
Anyways, but like in my past relationship, which I probably mentioned, he was not a strong communicator. He's one of the people that, like, you know, when things get tough, he ignores everybody and just like goes away and like hides and
separately.
processes by himself.
That's me.
Yeah, and so like he would do that a lot, and then we had like some like a major conflict type thing, and I'm over here like, hey, we need to talk. He'd read my messages but wouldn't respond. I'm like, bro, I see you reading these messages, like, when can we talk? And then he just like ignore me straight up, and I'm like over here offended because I'm just like, I don't know what you need because you're not telling me, you're just disappearing on me. And for me, I'm that type of person. If you tell me, hey, I need to be alone, I just don't want to talk to you right now, I will understand, because at least you communicated that to me. Yeah. But if you don't say anything, how am I supposed to know that? Because I'm a big communicator.
As a big communicator, do you feel that you set the do you feel that you set the environment for it to be safe to open that thing up?
Yeah.
Sometimes I feel like maybe not.
Because I was about to say, this was to both of you guys, because as someone who does process separately, I've been here before. I had a roommate with one of my exes that was literally following me room to room, because her and the way that she has to process, she can't sleep if she doesn't get it out. Yeah. It's like festering, and the longer she holds it in, the worse it becomes on her part. And me, I was begging, I was pleading. I said, give me 45 minutes and I can figure it out for me, and then I can receive you in the best way possible. Right now, I can't hear you. Yeah. I promise you, I cannot hear you. And he didn't give me space. It was to the point where I almost left my own house, like, to go on a drive to force my time.
Yeah.
Like, so sometimes, I don't know, I was just asking, like, how do you feel like if they can't even be like, hey, I need a moment, then when it counts, I would wonder, like, what are the micro versions of that where they might have needed a moment or might have needed some space, and they didn't feel like they had the right to say, I want space.
The thing about me is I'm a very welcoming person.
Are you?
Except for with you, because you are something else. But I'm a very welcoming person, and like I embrace the conflict because I know that's like an area of growth for whoever is involved in it. And I make it known. I'm like, hey, if you are uncomfortable, that is perfectly okay to be uncomfortable. Like, I get it. There's no need to like talk about this right now. We can take some space and like talk about it later. But the thing is, especially when it's a new relationship and you're still learning each other, that's why communication is so important, because like if you don't know what the other person needs, how are you going to resolve the conflict when it does come about? And I made that very clear to him in the beginning. I said, hey, if anything were to happen, like something were to piss you off, I would like you to please let me know so that I'm aware of it, so I don't do it again that offends you. And he was like, I probably wouldn't do that. I'm like, well, that's something that we're going to need to work on together, because like if we're going to make it work, and it has to go both ways. And so like when the conflict did come about and I was like, hey, I don't do well with the silent treatment. You have to tell me if you want to be left alone, because then I'm just going to keep bothering you, and then it's going to get worse. And then you're going to feel like you're just like being bombarded with all these questions and stuff like what's wrong, and I'm doing it innocently on my part, but it's just like the concept of it's just like if you're not understanding my needs when I understand your needs, it's not going to grow anywhere, because like I understood he needed space, and I understood like he's a internal processor versus an external processor. But for me, like I keep telling him, I require communication for things to work. I require you to talk to me at some point. But if you keep ignoring me for weeks on end, nothing's going to happen. I'm going to get pissed off. You're going to get pissed off at me for annoying you. So, like, what are we doing?
I think we're the same person.
That's why I asked.
Let's not put them in the same room together.
I was like, yo, I think I just found your podcast partner.
Yeah.
Just like that. It's called the Mirror Podcast, is where they mirror each other's ideas just for 45 minutes, and then they drink wine. Virgin wine.
Some sparkling cider.
Sparkling cider.
Yeah, sparkling cider.
Oh my God. What I was thinking about that when it comes to, and I would like to go around the room. Of course, we're starting with Anthony. We'll go me last because I'll probably talk longer. When we think of processing, I really would like to know what was conflict resolution like in your household, like when it came to like issues that you had, like what your parents like were, how did those resolve? Was it like, if you're in trouble, is that it? Like, you're in trouble, here's your punishment? Is it, you're in trouble, explain yourself, I don't like that, here's your punishment?
I like that
and
question.
I want to know, because I feel like it affects how we deal with conflict as adults. Because if you have a quote unquote silence voice, like I know I was raised in a very big family where any adult is right, basically, and they have the respect and you can't disrespect them, and et cetera, et cetera. So when I'm older, I just let people rot. Like now I just let people rot, and I'll say it if I need to, but I definitely affected my relationships in the beginning of like how I felt. So yeah, there you go. That was enough.
That was a lot.
React.
So in my household, it was quote unquote tough love. Has that, every kid is raised, you do get in trouble, you get lectured, or you get the fucking belt or something like that, or the chancla, whatever you get hit with. But with my mom, it was, she's a Filipino mom, so she get with her dad, my grandpa, like it was always lectures and all that stuff. And she would always give me lectures about why I shouldn't do it. And, I never did it again. But with my stepdad, it was more or less, he was a little bit more cool with me because he never hit me, but because, I'm not his kid. Mm-hmm. But he always gave me a guy-on-guy talk. So, like, whenever I did, lose my virginity, my mom was livid with me, like, always, like, telling me I shouldn't have done that, telling me why I did it, all this stuff. And then my dad pulled me and was like, hey, your mom is really mad. I'll give you props first off. But he just gave me the guy-to-guy talk, like, hey, like next time, you should have waited a little bit longer, but it is what it is. You did it, every guy.
But how would you react?
I would, when my mom was like yelling at me, I would cry. I was a very emotional kid. and I would cry, go to my room, and cry on the pillow for hours.
Did you have feelings of regret when you did that? Like, did she actually make you feel like you
Sometimes
made a mistake?
Like when she used to get on me for biting my nails, and she still does, but she would always make me feel bad, and I would be like, why am I doing this? But then it's just a habit that I still do. But like with anything, she would make me feel bad, and I just never did anything.
Back?
No, I would literally receive all the information and then process it, go cry, and go to the bed sad. But I wake up a new person. So.
Before we push over the jazz, I just have to ask you for just a quick. You don't have to dive too deep, but knowing that that's where some of your roots are, how would you say that has affected you in 2022? Like when it comes to even conflict, or maybe even not conflict, just how do you go about your interactions?
I mean, just with anything. I mean, like she doesn't yell at me, but we try not to get into heated conversations. But like in my head, like whenever like I did something wrong and she like brings it up and like tells me, I always have that sense of like my mom yelling at me. So I need to go away for about 5-10 minutes. Let me be on my phone, or let me lay down, look at the ceiling for a little bit, and then I'll come back. And I've done better with like coming back, because before, like with my mom, I never came back and apologized for anything. I kind of just sat there or laid there. But with her, like I come back, say sorry, like and try to make it, or at least make it understandable to her.
That's dope. I like that. Can I ask you one more thing on top of that? I'm sorry. Well, no, because for processors, because we have two high energy communicators, so when you are gone, you have to also, I acknowledge that for you, 10 minutes might feel so long to them, especially when they're in the heat of the moment. So like, what are some things that, because I mean, now you said you come back. So what are some things that are you just thinking about nothing? Are you cooling off? Are you just staring in until like your adrenaline wears off? Like what is kind of going through your head in those moments?
Well, because whenever like I get like heat, I always tend to raise my voice and yell. So it's mostly me just cooling down, and then like I cool down for a couple minutes, and then I think about what she said and try to come to a consensus of understanding of me and her, like she's feeling this way, how can I better it, or I did this, what can I do to resolve it. I kind of just cool down. I kind of get out of my own head, like, oh, she's doing this, she's doing that. Like my mom always yelling at me, like, oh, she hates me and stuff. But then she would always, I know my mom loved me, but at that point I felt like I was hated. But then, like now I just kind of chill out for a little bit, let me relax. And then there's been times where she comes to the room and like lays down next to me, and she's just there, has her arm around me. I'm just like, okay, my heartbeat is down. I can chill, but now we can talk.
That's why I have stuffed animals. Okay.
I'm hugging one right now.
Yeah.
I got a pillow.
Sorry, I'm stressed, man. I'm out here talking about my feelings. I'm sensitive. That's why I want to go last. All right, Jazz, let's hear it. Where is he rooted from, you strong communicator, you?
I think that like growing up, honestly, my parents were always like shutting me up. Like they didn't want to talk to me. They didn't want to talk about how or when or what or who at all. Like, and I was always growing up like sensitive. Like I was a very sensitive person. I always like cried because they yelled at me, and I hated people that yelled at me. Like I will not talk to you if you're yelling at me. And that's why also Anthony, like when he gets heated, he like will yell, and I'm like, you know what? I can't talk to you right now. Like we need to both calm down. And like that's when we know we kind of need to take a moment. But growing up for me, like my dad, like he doesn't like to like talk about his emotions, and I don't know if that's just because he's Mexican, but like he just like he's not a sensitive person. My mom, as I grew up and I've created like a bond with her and a relationship with her, I actually was able to start talking to her more as soon as like high school ended. And that's actually like very recently. So it's like, dang. But I don't know where I kind of like I feel like I just talked a lot ever since like little. I don't wouldn't say it's like how I was raised because they always like didn't want to talk.
No, I feel like when people don't feel heard, they speak louder. That makes sense. There's some bars in there.
But like, I don't know. Even my little sister feels the same way now, and she's like 12 years old, and I'm like, Maya, listen. At this point, you're kind of talking to a wall when it comes to my parents. Like, they're not listening to you. And I hate to say it, but there's not too much you can do besides listen to them.
Granted, her sister does talk a lot.
She does. She's also a strong communicator. She likes to voice out how she's feeling, her opinions, and, like, for her, I'm like, you can talk to me. I'll listen.
Yeah.
And then just put it on, low volume.
No, I'm actually listening.
No, that's good. I think that's a great. First of all, I think it's amazing that you have an outlet for your sister because you didn't necessarily have the same outlet. So I think that drastically could change trajectory of anything. And then second, so knowing that you like to be, at least present day, you like to be heard, sense of validation. How do you think that affects like your interactions, like with people, with Anthony? Like do you feel like you should always be able to, like, as long as you talk things out, you will be okay? Because
yeah, I mean, like, I for me, growing up, like, when I was in a relationship, once I got out of it, I kind of was like, you know what? I want to better myself. I want to, like, know why I did this, why I feel that way, why am I thinking, like, the way I'm thinking, or what is, how can I be better? And, like, I don't know why, like, at some point it was, like, a weekly thing where I was like, okay, like, I had this conversation with this person, how could this have gone better? Or not even, like, better, it's just, like, communicate where they understood. And now to this day, like, being married to him, like, it is harder when someone, doesn't want to communicate, where they're like, you know what, I'm going to shut up because you're talking. And that's kind of how it is sometimes with us. But, like, I'm like, no, actually, I want to hear your opinions. I want to know what's going on in your head. I want to know why you're thinking that, why you feel angry. What do you, what made you feel that? What did I do that made you feel that way?
It's never you. It's always work.
yeah.
Good answer. Good answer.
It's always work. Well, I mean, yeah, I feel you. Sometimes you gotta pull without pulling. Do a little Jedi, get a little creative when it comes to us more quiet dudes. We have opinions. Like, Anthony and I talk a lot. Like,
I'm
together.
Sure
we definitely have strong.
But like I like, it's because I have been the same way. But I've also dated so many extroverts. Like, so I've kind of picked up like how they've gotten me to speak and my passion, or like,
I don't know how to
kind of get it.
To get him to speak. It's hard. I feel like he feels like I judge him too much, but then I'm like, okay, well, I'm gonna shut up and I'll let you talk.
I mean, I charge for anything that resembles therapy, but what I will say is that it really just starts with just noticing it's very small things that he'll do, him in particular, that he'll do, that if you see, or like not even emulate, but if you just mimic, you'll see him having a big cherry smile.
What are you talking about?
It's just little things like that. But I'm glad, man. I'm glad that you guys are both, like, at least you have an understanding of those roots and how it can affect and what's going on. You guys are displaying some high EQ right now. I'm not fucked heavy with EQ.
It's
all
hard
right.
Sometimes.
My OG, triple OG, quadruple OG boss. Let me hear about what happened with conflict resolution, and yours might be, a little different because you have different elements of growing up like everyone else. But
yeah, so similar to everybody else, I was a very emotional child, especially like, okay, so I am a daddy's girl, but I grew up with my mom. And if anything, if you understand zodiacs at all, my mom is a Leo. My dad is a Scorpio.
I'm a Scorpio too.
And then I'm a Cancer, and I'm the crybaby, okay? And so growing up with a Leo, being very domineering, right? And she actually learned very early on in my life that she cannot talk to me the way she talks to other people because I'm so sensitive. Like, I will read into every single word, and then I will find something in that and blame myself for everything. And then it's just downhill from there. And so when conflicts came up, I would start crying in front of my mom. And she was like, oh, I didn't mean to make you cry. Why are you crying? Stop crying. And I'm over here like, because you just said all these things and I feel like I just messed up and I don't know how to fix it. And she was like, yeah, you did mess up, but now you can learn not to do it again. And I was like, okay. And then I would just still be crying and everything, like trying to get it together. There was even one time when we were at like, what was it? We were at Ross or something. My mom said something to me and I started crying in the middle of Ross and my aunt had to come and like coddle me. She was like, do you want me to talk to your mom? I was like, no, it's okay.
Go get that shirt over there that I like.
Right, basically. But I think a lot of the reasons why I was so like sensitive during that time was because I didn't know myself well enough. And like my mom was very secure in herself. That's why she was so like, this is how it's supposed to be. Like, she was so secure in herself, but I wasn't secure, especially with all the moving and instability and not really knowing where life was taking me. And then I also had like a lot of mental health stuff going on too. So then it was just like, well, damn, I got the triple whammy of moving, mental health, and I'm a Cancer. Like, there's no way to go past this. But eventually, I think it was after I turned 18 was when I got better at being communicative and actually vocalizing things, because I moved out the house and I had to figure myself out without having my parents around. Oof. And so that was like a whole new world. Like, I had to figure out how to handle conflict rather than just crying like a baby and just like sitting there and taking it all in, because usually it's actually not my fault. Like, it's not always my fault, and I had to recognize that and be able to communicate like, this is actually what happened and I know that this is how you see it, but in reality, when you look at it objectively, I am not the person in the wrong. And you have to take the emotions out of it. Like, it took a lot for me to learn how to take emotions out of conflict, but that's how I've learned to be more head on about things. I'm like, yes, I know I feel this way, but when you actually look at the bigger picture, what is it that really started the conflict in the first place, and why did it end up being this big blow up in any sort of way? And like, I think a lot of my friends learned that about me too as I got older. They were just like, yeah, you actually handle conflict very well. I'm like, that's because I stopped allowing my emotions to take over and stopping me from actually analyzing what happened.
Overanalyzing.
Yeah, I overanalyzed it a lot as a kid.
She does that a lot too.
Have you guys ever been too analytical about your conflict?
Yes. Yeah.
I was about to say, I'm an analytical person. I'm an analyst. I'm an analyst.
It's in our job title. What are you talking about?
I found a middle range, man. There should be some emotion in there. There should be some human element to it as well. But yeah, it's scary because sometimes logic isn't there. Like, logic does not work with some special bonds, because sometimes the special bonds have no words. Like, me and my best friend, we click, and I can't tell you why. I literally can't be like, oh, because he also loves tacos. Like, I can't, I don't have a reason or a formula to why we work so well, but it's more so a magical thing. So anytime we're in conflict, like, yes, there's some logic, but I very much go off of like how I feel when I'm with him, and like how like our bond, like, yo, this dude's like, he picks me up, he challenges me, like, I want to see him, you know, grow as a man. He's always speaking positivity in me and faith and stuff like that, and I like that in my support circle.
Yeah, because actually that reminds me of my best friend from undergrad, and we are still very close. Like, we start talking about assignments and stuff and work, and like, it's as if it's like we're still roommates and everything, which is hilarious to me. And I remember because we actually used to live together with two other girls, and it was chaos all the time.
Damn.
It was always chaos.
A whole house full of girls?
Yeah, and then I was like the mother figure in the household. Like, I had 3 jobs. I was cleaning the dishes, cooking meals for everybody. I'm just like, I don't understand.
My rent only like 7. Honestly speaking, we got 700. We'll talk.
But like, I remember there was this time where we had this conflict, and we had met, what was it, senior year of high school. We met online because we were looking for roommates and stuff for the dorms. We didn't room that year, but we roommated the next year.
Gang, gang.
And anyways, and so like there was this one period where it was something about her boyfriend and like something was pissing her off, and then she started attacking me because of something that was going on in her relationship. I was like, whoa, first of all, I'm on my menstrual cycle. I don't appreciate this attitude. I'm a Cancer too. Like there's so much happening over here, and I cannot handle this right now. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a few hours. You can figure out whatever you need to figure out. I'll be right here, but do not come at me like that ever again. And so we actually were able to like talk through it. We had other conflicts and stuff, but like they always worked out in the end. And it was just like, it's amazing to see that kind of growth with the friendships, like recognizing how much you have grown as a person and how much you're growing together in whatever relationship you're in.
Yeah. I love to see Anthony's growth, personally.
My growth? What do you mean?
I love seeing him. He was so quiet first time I met him. And then it's like, I was like, man, he's just here.
I was literally just here with you. Yeah.
And then we started talking more. I was like,
because, switched out with my old boy.
That boy got the layers.
This guy actually has feelings.
And I like layers, man. Some people are robots, man. Unfortunately, it's a sad truth. Some people are really robots. I mean, we talked about it last episode when it comes to people trying to figure shit out in their 20s and stuff like that. And it's just the identity crisis that so many people are going through tends to affect them. That's why I asked you guys all, like, how did you start? Like, what was your first ever example of conflict resolution? Because, I mean, like, at the end of the day, like, that is what was set for you. Like, this is how you handle problems. And then you can be like, yay, nay, or adjust it in however way you want. So, like, my mom talks to me now. We can disagree a lot easier now than we would, like, back then. Like, right now, if my mom doesn't answer my second call, I'm like, all right, mom, I'm looking for a new mom. So I'm just letting you know that you have a vacancy so you could stop calling me. And she's like, you can't get rid of me. And like, we have a very playfulness that I just did not have as a child. And if I could do that with my mom, I just think of all the other relationships that I've just had over the years. I'm like, yo, like, I feel like over time, like, you hit a new, like, space, or like, I see a different maturity. You know, sometimes it goes the other way. Like, I was like, yeah, I don't like where you've been trending right now. I mean, you are not on the same core. Like, I don't rock with it. And then you're in different cultures and whatnot. What you got, Jazz? You look like you lit up.
I don't know. I was just thinking about
Your mom?
No. Yeah, I love my mom. I would say I have the same relationship. I'm like, if you don't answer, I swear to God.
Yeah, that's how I'm.
I be getting butthurt when my mama don't answer.
Oh, moms, man.
Why don't you answer me?
Y'all, I need to answer. First of all, I should break past your notifications being on silence. I should be an emergency contact.
I start calling everybody else in the family. Like, my mama ain't answering me. Is she okay? Why won't she talk to me today?
She's right next to me. What are you talking about?
I did that with my dad on Father's Day. I called him twice, and I just called my mom and said, where's my daddy at? Also, hi, Mom. How you doing? What's going on?
Well, I mean, I feel like with, like, growing up, like, with your mom, like, being playful, I feel like she now, like, you now understand what what she's going through and stuff like that. So she, like, knows she can joke around with you, like, when you were a kid. Before, when you were a kid, like, you don't have those adult problems in your mind. You just want to freaking play video games, play outside, and, hang out with your friends and ride bikes and fall over hills. But I feel like since she's known you matured, I feel like she can now be, playful in that sense.
No, she can be like your friend.
I think it's like a mix. I think it's that, but I mean, she didn't stay stagnant. I mean, my mother has a 28-year-old son. Like, that's a almost 30-year-old. If you had an almost 30-year-old, you might be at a different, space in life.
Well,
I think
it'll be different if you lived with your mom. So.
Oh no, I can't even be around. I can't be at home for more than 5 days.
And that actually brings up my next point, though. Like, being able to move out of the house that you grew up in with the people that you grew up with allows you to actually expand in your own personality. Because whenever I go home, it's kind of as if there's a regression in me where I just feel more childlike, and like I have to do all the things that I used to do as a kid. But it's like, once I had moved out and I was supporting myself, had my own job and everything, getting education and whatever I actually wanted to do, it was totally different. It was like I saw life in a whole new set of lens. But with family, it seems like they already see how you are. They saw how you grew up, and it's like that is you. That is how you're going to always be in their eyes. Like, oh, baby girl, I remember when you were this big, and they're always reminiscing. They're always reminiscing on something. But then it's like, but now I'm over here and I'm doing all these other different things, but it doesn't really seem to like bypass all of the history that you already have with me.
Yeah, man. No, that used to happen at first, but then like I think after like the 4th time I came to visit back home, I was like, nah, I'm here, bro. Like I had soju and Gatorade. Like I was a totally different person. Like I was putting my aunties on game, and I have like 8 of them. I was putting everybody on game. It was just different. They want to hear where I'm at. They just want to make sure I'm good and not on drugs, and then I'm all good.
Don't do drugs.
I mean, don't do hard drugs. I don't know what to tell you, bro.
Just do miracle marijuana.
I just I don't know, man. But I feel like, because regardless of my mom and like my idea of that is my mom and motherhood and growing up, I think that I still want to give her a chance of being a grandmother. I think she'll be a great grandmother. I think that her experience as a mom has nothing to do with this, sweet elderly woman that she is now. And I can't wait to get all the free gifts from her. So
it's like one of those, like your mom's gonna take care of the grand kid, like all good, and like, where was this when I was growing up?
I'm sitting here with I was like, you give him a back rub right now? When you start doing that, when I start that, man, I'm trying to get see what that feels like, man. Like I just, that shit is crazy to me, man. We brought up, well, imagine if you still lived with your parents, and I flipped it because we're all older now. So would you let your parents, either one or one, live with you guys present day? I want to hear
offense,
this.
mother, but nah.
Okay,
nah?
I would
Yes.
let her parents, not my parents. No. I love both of them, but her mom and her dad are really, really, really chill, especially her mom. And my mom and my stepdad are just like, my mom's a really hard-headed person, really stubborn. She's a very strong, independent mom, right? Mm-hmm. And then my stepdad's more of like the chill, kind of cigar smoking every Saturday, drinking whiskey almost every day kind of guy. So I can vibe with him, but my mom, sometimes I can't even crack her. Like, I'm just like, what do you feel every day? Like, she works a lot, and she's like, oh, I'm just chilling, I'm working every day. I'm just like, and then she's like taking my sister all these basketball games and doing all this extra stuff on the side. Like, my mom's a real like I don't know. Like, I can't even explain her.
Why is Jazz's parents? Jazz, talk about your parents. Why are your parents such a treat to have? Is it because they cook? I feel like there's cooking involved.
Okay, that's one of them. No.
I love my parents. I don't have the best relationship with my dad. Like, a very, like, deep emotional one, because he just doesn't talk about his feelings. But my mom will, like, tell me everything. She'll tell me all the cheese, man. She'll, like, gossip with me and, like, just, like, we'll have a good time. She, like, gets offended when I don't call her. She's like, why didn't you call me this week? And I was like, I don't know, I thought you were busy. And she's like, no, I'm doing nothing like you.
Yeah, I gotta call my mom tomorrow.
But, like, she likes to spoil us with gifts. So, like, her love language is, like, receiving gifts. But she also gives them a lot. Like, everyone... Anytime she's like, oh, thinking about Jasmine in Hawaii. She loves Hawaii too. So she's like, would be totally down. She wants to come back, actually. She was telling me, she's like, your dad said that before I get my job in nursing, that I want to come, stay with you for like a week. Yep. Get a break.
I agree.
End up being like 2 weeks.
I agree that she should come out and cook, and I'll be there.
She makes salsa.
Just let me know. I'll take leave.
Tamales.
Got you. I got you.
She likes going shopping, and that's what I love doing too. She likes exploring. She likes like just doing the same things that I like doing.
My mom loves our boss, like our real boss, like Bivens.
Oh,
my mom.
They're the same exact person. What do you mean?
She was like, I can't wait to go out there and tell her that I'm going to meet her. Because every time I talk about it to each other, they're just like mimic each other. It's so scary.
Well, you see your mom in her.
So my God.
Whenever we like first started talking about it, and she was like, and you're just like, oh, I see my mom. And I'm like, oh, crap. That's bad. First sergeant.
Okay.
The black lady.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's my fucking...
She's nice.
She is very nice.
My mom is nice too.
Yeah,
my mom and her and Batman are never in the same room at the same time. I wonder why.
with my parents, I would let them visit. You know,
that's not the question.
I know, but to live with me, here's the thing: I love my mom, but she loves to buy things off of Amazon at like 3:00 in the morning. So there's always like a package at the door.
I love that.
That's okay.
I saw this really cute.
I can't do that
Run that
because
shit.
for one thing, where I live, Amazon can't easily get in through the gate to drop off the package. They have to call the phone and be like, "Hey, we have your package. Can you come meet us outside the gate?" And then I'm over
I
here.
told you to be bougie.
I'm over here like, let me put on my Crocs. Let me get outside.
Sorry, I live in a gated community. I apologize.
Yeah, no one told you to live in this gated
But
community.
no, and so then my stepdad, right? He's like a very a rule oriented dude, right? So whenever I'm at home visiting,
Right.
My
he's
house,
like,
my rules.
Yeah, exactly. He's always just like, okay, well, you already know curfew's at 9:30 p.m. If you're not home, you
My
might as well
dad's
not
the same
come
way.
home until tomorrow when the sun rises. And I'm just
I
like,
love
oh
that
my
rule.
God.
But
I'd be
then-
out all the time. Nah, I got a
then
hotel
when they-
play. I'm ahead of you.
But then when they come, you're like, this is my house and
Yeah.
my rules.
Does he do that?
But then he's gonna be like, "Oh, really? Who's still paying your car payment?" I'll be like, "Damn!"
Well, I guess you're sleeping in the car. What do you mean? Nah, G.
And I'll be sitting there like,
I'll be like,
he got me there."
Nope, you don't got me. Them back seats work, bro. I'll bring you a blanket.
I have a blanket in my car. Actually,
Exactly. He's set up.
I have like my whole livelihood in that car.
Don't pull your
Car
card
is a
on
second
me.
home. You cannot get that out of my
I'm
mind.
telling you, man. I'll do it. I'll sleep in this whip. I don't care.
But then with my my dad, my actual padre, I don't. It's kind of weird. Like, I can't see us ever having to live together because we had, like, when my mom went to, I think she was in Afghanistan, I had to live with my dad and his marital spouse. And it was just always awkward. It was just really weird.
Well, I mean, in most cases, when your parents have to live with you, it's because of some unforeseen circumstance or
God forbid.
So, I
God
mean,
forbid.
you all have to think of this
I'll be
at the
okay
same
with that.
time.
Yeah.
Like, it's not just they're like, yo, I decided
But some parents
haven't
really
been
do
spending-
be like that.
we haven't spent enough time together, so I've got all my life in the duffel bag.
So let's say, okay,
I'll be there at 5.
currently where I am in life right now, it'd be a hard no, a hard pass, because for one thing, I do not have the living space to accommodate for more than myself and my cat.
Well, like,
Cat's gotta go.
your family comes in, it's either a cat or us. Which one do you want?
I'm gonna take a cat.
She's like, I already bought cat food.
Like, I have a whole closet. For you. I don't know what you
I don't
want.
know.
But let's say it's somewhere in the future where I'm more established. I actually have a house instead of an apartment. Then I could see it working out. Like, at that point in my life, yeah, I could see it working out.
Yeah, because they're gonna bring up the like, oh, I raised you. Why can't I live with you for this amount of time? Because like you said, like with like unforeseen circumstances, like I get that. Like life happens, stuff happens, and if they have nowhere else to go besides us, and yes, they raised us, like okay, open.
But
like,
the plot twist with my family, we have so much family in like the states that they're in. So my dad, like literally my dad
She
and
just doesn't want to claim her parents. Look at all these excuses.
anyways, no, because listen, my dad and like my dad's side of the family, they all live in Florida. Then my mom and her side of the family all live in
there's other
Texas.
family.
I hear you.
And I'm over here in Hawaii. Who's trying to pay for
not
all these
the
flight
question.
tickets?
no, they're
Not,
not
it's, first,
excuses.
it's 2.
They're not excuses. They're reasons. Okay?
No, these are excuses. I said your parents living with you, not nobody else is available.
Yeah.
That they're like, hey,
Awkward.
like you're on the phone, like
I'ma look
the
at
house
them and they
just
go look
burned
at me.
down. They stopped giving Social Security,
And I have enough money to fly to Hawaii.
so I'm gonna use my
I'll be-
last check to
No,
see.
listen, I'll be
you.
looking at my mama like, what happened to the your disability check? What happened to
They
that?
stopped giving that, as they've been saying they're gonna do for a while now. Hey man, my dad can live with me. My mom, I buy her a house. It's like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, my dad, he's so chill. I wouldn't even notice. And, he'd be like, "You want to go fishing?" I'd be like, "No." And he'd be like, "Cool." And he'll leave, and there's no beef.
He's chill.
We'll go. He'll meet me at some soul food restaurant when he's done, and that, yeah. But my
wanna go-
mom, no, you can't get that off.
You want to go golfing? Nah.
My mom. Plus, I don't like her volume of conversation.
Why?
Is it very loud?
She talks so loud on the phone. Everyone's on speaker. There's like she's talking to like 8 people. She'll pull up her like tablet, FaceTime someone or some shit. I'd be like, what? My mom, I was like, Mom, you should just have a show. Like this was like the way she be, DJing it up.
Okay. At this point. You want to hear my other excuse though?
Sure, yeah.
It's because my mom always says that she deserves to have my bed and she's not going to sleep on an air mattress.
Wow.
Wow. She's older.
And?
Your body can take it.
It can't.
The air mattress.
It can't.
Is it a comfy
bed? Maybe just get another bed.
It is a comfy bed, not going to lie.
Just get a bed off.
Get her another bed.
I don't have room for another bed. Somebody going to sleep on the couch.
Get one of those. Oh, yeah, just get one of those. The little couch beds.
Or just get a futon.
Yo, I should get a couch.
I used to have a futon.
She's saying no.
I'm just saying no. That's my other excuse because my mom's going to take my bed and I don't want her to take my bed.
See, you just don't want to live with them. This is crazy.
I love them so dearly, and they know that. It's just there's a limit. There's a limit to what I can and can't.
I told you my mom can't live here.
Yeah.
My daddy can.
Our second bed came in clutch. just to let you know.
I got 3 beds and I'm still like, yo, my mom gotta get her whole house. I'll furnish it for you and everything.
I will help you.
I think at some point all families can be annoying or like have its limits. But like I love them and I would do anything. My mom will do anything for me, so I do anything for her.
Oh, that's sweet.
What's the role of like older people in your families though? So like for me, like I have such a big families that the elders actually it's not even like a hierarchy. It's not no freaking what is it? It's not no Encanto type thing. Where it's like the elder is the top of the pyramid, everyone listens to the elder. Yeah. It's not like that because we have so many different generations. I think we have at least from my grandma, she has like great grandkids at this point. So elders are just they just be existing. Somebody take care of them. That's it.
With my elders, like on my mom's side of the family, like you said with the hierarchy, like they're more respected, and there's a tradition where whenever you meet like the oldest person in your family, you have to give him or her a what's it called? Basically, you have to put your forehead on her on. You have to put his or her hand on your forehead, basically, saying like, "How you doing? You're the most respected person of the household." But with us, like the older people, they're the most wise, and they always have something to say with whatever you're going through, because more likely than not, they've went through it 10 times. And my dad's side of the family, the elders are again the respected ones, but then it also just depends on who it is. Like my dad's mom and dad, the dad is really religious, and he has his own church and everything, and but he puts everything first and then the family, which I don't agree with, but that's just how he lives his life. And then the mom always she only speaks Spanish, but I somewhat understand her. She's always so happy and so happy to see everybody. Like, oh, you want something to eat? You want some water? I'm like, yes, Grandma, I would love some water.
Fuck yeah, Grandma.
I am thirsty.
How'd you know I was parched?
I haven't eaten in a week.
But it's more or less just like the more respected and wiser people in my family, at least.
How you feel, Jazz?
I don't know. I would say that it's not. Growing up, it would be like, yeah, you have to respect them. And I've never had like a conflict of like not respecting an elderly, someone that's older. I've always respected everyone. Nothing crazy like his. Like put your hand on the freaking forehead. But like
that's not crazy. It's culture.
That was in The Lion King.
No, it's literally like this. Like you just do that.
I actually saw that happen at the club on Friday. It was really interesting.
Yeah. I don't know. I have nothing crazy like that. But yeah, I would say I respect all my elderly and everything they have to say.
Oh, is it me? It's
me too. What's up with you?
Do
you have elderly?
I do have elderly, but here's the dilemma in that. Like the main elderly people in my family are just my grandparents, right? But my mom's parents, they both died before I was even born, so I grew up with one set of grandparents being my father's, And like when it really comes down to it, they're always like the people who I can go to talk to at the end of the day. And I remember I was telling my grandma something and she was just like, go live your life, but don't do anything I wouldn't do. And just remember, I lived a long life. And I was like, all right, grandma, you know.
I don't know what you did, but.
I don't know what you did, but all right.
Scandalous, low-key.
And then with my pop-pop, so back when I was in undergrad, I realized I was an alcoholic. And my pop-pop, he is also an alcoholic. And so like we were able to talk about that. He was like, so have you been reading the big book and blah, blah, blah. How's your meetings going? It was like another level of being able to connect with him that I never really experienced as a kid because like I didn't really have anything to talk about as a kid because I was like, what do these old people really know about being a kid anymore?
What is alcohol? I don't know.
Right. But it's always like a really great time to just chat with my grandparents because I know that they have a lot of grandkids, but I think that they said that I'm the most consistent with actually talking to them on a regular basis. And I was like, yeah, I'm the favorite grandchild. I know this. Everybody knows this. That's no worry.
My grandpa says the same thing.
Yeah.
Like, so I'm the oldest grandkid. So I'm not obviously, but I'm going to be the favorite because I'm the first and the oldest.
The one that made them a grandparent.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like I'm the favorite, and it's like in my head with my grandpa, like he's one of the most chillest and one of the most down to earth people. He was also in the army. He did 22 years, I think, in the military, and he's been through a lot. He's seen some stuff. He doesn't like to share it, but you know that's just him. But every time he drinks, he always has something new to say, and he gets so passionate, and he always says, "Oh, you're my BFF. I love you so much. And whenever you turn 23, I'm going to be 25. I'm like, Grandpa, I know. And she recorded a conversation between me and my grandpa, and it was my grandpa's just the cutest thing ever. Like, I would love him to come back, but, you know, he has his own life. So, taking care of his sons, so his other grandkids.
And when my mom got remarried and then I got two new grandparents through the marriage, right? They are the sweetest things. It's so funny to me too, because like my grandpa Preston, he's like the crosswalking guard person in elementary school. And
That's so cute.
It's this old man with his little stop sign and whistle, right? And so then my grandma Preston, she was just like, look at him with his little whistle, holding his little sign. I'm like, this is too funny to me.
It's so cute though. Seeing like a older person like doing that stuff and like saying hi to the kids and everything. It's such the cutest thing.
Yeah.
I'm gonna add chaos now because
Chaos.
me and my grandpa, we had beef, but now we're over it. But still, he set me up for failure. No, man. So back when I was in North Carolina, right? I am a supervisor, so I have subordinates and whatnot, and we're having a Thanksgiving. Like, so one of my aunties lived 10 minutes away from where I was at in the barracks or wherever. And she invited me to Thanksgiving, and I invited anyone who had nowhere to go for Thanksgiving to my auntie's house. Anyone. I said, anyone that works under me. All right, so we got the picture. Of this group, there was a female there, right? All right. That's as far. Thank you. This right now in the story is literally the story. That's as far as you need to think about it because that's as far as it was.
Okay.
But then we go to Thanksgiving.
Oh shit!
It's just a regular Thanksgiving, hey, this turkey. Hey, this is this, blah, blah. But at my aunt's house, she invited more people. So like my grandpa's there, my grandma's there, a few of my other aunties, cousins, whatever. Like they're saying hi. Like you guys all do the same work and blah, blah, blah. You guys all are analysts. And we're like, yeah,
God, so
we're all
nice.
Analysts. We be analyzing and shit.
We be doing our thing,
right? So that was Thanksgiving, right? And it was, I didn't think nothing much of it. And then on Christmas, my girlfriend visits. Like, she's visiting me from out of state. Like, she flies in and visits. And I'm super excited because, like I said, this is my girlfriend. So I drive out of state to see another aunt. And she's doing a Christmas thing. And as I'm here at the Christmas thing, I'm introducing my girlfriend to all the family. Like, blah, blah, blah. And my grandpa is there. You know what my grandpa says? Let me tell you what my grandpa says, man.
Shit.
My grandpa looks at me, right? He looks at me. He says, Trevion, who's this? This ain't the same girl you took the Thanksgiving. I said, what was that? I said, what's that? I ain't hear you. He said, no, this ain't the pretty young lady that you had at the Thanksgiving thing. So I was like, I was stuck because I was like, I'm sitting here and she's looking at me, girlfriend. You can't have a family member call out a whole nother person 2 months before. So for me, I was like, she was like, who'd you bring to Thanksgiving? I thought you said Thanksgiving you were just with family and friends. What happened to that? And I was like, I really was. I was just like, Granddad, what the hell? Like, and I told my mom because I was like, yo, what the heck is this? What's up with him, man? What's up with him? Was he jealous because pretty women around me, man? He hated. And then my mom was like, oh my God, he didn't do that. I was like, he did do that. And then I was like, all my aunts pulled my girl aside. It was like, no, this man is senile. Don't mind him. And I had beef. I had beef because I had the answer to that for the rest of the Christmas. Like it kept coming up. Was this as good as Thanksgiving? I don't fucking know. I don't even like turkey. I don't.
So the other girl, blonde or brunette?
I was say, it looks like she was very memorable for your granddad and his age to remember. I was like, I don't
he
know. He
remembers a lot of stuff. Okay,
I know he might be Sherlock Holmes. We don't know. All right, I don't even know if he knows who I am. He could have been talking to another person. All right,
he said Trevion.
He didn't say that. He said so. In my family, we have this other weird thing because we're so big. They will call you like 5 other people's names. Yeah. So my mom will call me my brother's name, my dad's name, and then yours. And then mine. I'll be like, yeah, one of those is correct, and then we go on. I just want to throw some chaos in there because elders don't have a place in my family right now. They're cool.
My dad used to have nicknames for me, and I'm not I was the darkest one in the family because I was Filipino and my mom was too, but I was the darkest one. I was if you see all my brothers and all my family, oh, he's dark. So he would he would call me black names, hey Jamal, get over here. I'm like, what?
You are a Jamal.
He's like, and then his favorite fucking nickname was Little Blackie for me. Yeah. Hey, Little Blackie, come here. I turn around and respond, and then someone was like, what do you call you? I'm like, oh no, it's a nickname. Just don't worry about it.
Shit. He said, kind sir.
That's what he said.
Listen here, buddy.
Listen here, buddy.
Yeah, come on, Buckaroo. Let's go.
Buckaroo. Don't fire those off, bro.
I remember it was like a family dinner, but my aunt, she had her girlfriend with her, but she was going through a bunch of girlfriends, so we really didn't know what was happening. But
be like that, man.
But me being oblivious, I thought this was just a friend, right? I really thought it was just a friend this time, and so I'm talking about her exes and stuff, and then this girl look over at my auntie like, "Excuse me," and I'm like, "Oh," and my mom's like, "Hey, what are you doing? Shut up!" I'm like,
why would you be talking about some exes, even if it's a friend? Who just brings up exes?
No, because it was really funny.
You're a menace.
It was your parents looking at you
you're a menace.
Starts kicking me under the table.
You start crying
that's a menace. That's some Black Air Force activity right there.
No, because
how about that girl you brought last week?
What? It was this one ex of hers who was just so unhinged.
Gotta bring her ex. She's not even here.
She was so unhinged. It was just too funny. I don't know why I brought it up, but it was so
why.
funny.
You know exactly why. You probably brought it up now. That Air Force, she's like, I can't believe you did that.
I did have a pair of black Air Force Ones as a kid, so it suits.
That shit is ridiculous.
Look like I don't have any right now.
You know what? I'm good with that. I'm good. I'm getting back into my positive bag. Your grandpa, we straight now. Don't even worry about it. Asia's aunt, y'all still beefing apparently. She's still bringing up your ex. Nah, she's bringing up your ex in 2022. Y'all can deal with that next reunion. That's between you two.
So I heard you talking about my exes on the podcast. Right. What made you bring this up?
I got something for you.
What is going on?
Don't even worry about it.
You got something you want to get off your chest, youngin'?
But bro, man.
Starts taking off her jewelry Yo,
I feel like that today. So I would say we still cover history. We hit a lot of communication. We hit a lot on just like, yo, like how does our family shape kind of like how we are today, and what are the relationships that we've had with them, and how they've kind of molded relationships we have now between not just each other but our significant others and whatnot. And I think that's all fire, right? So I think I want to roll this one up so we can watch some shows or something. At least Asia and I freaking get into the show we're just reading in this book about. However, I would like everyone to say good night, goodbye. See you guys later. We're coming up on our finale, reunion time. I'm super excited. It's going to be a huge outcome. Right now, this has been the podcast that I'll name one day. I don't know. Still thinking about it. ... MarquisSoLive. Goodbye, everybody.
Toodles.
Good night.
Bye.